When we saw the property online, it looked pretty daggy and run down. The area wasn't one that we didn't really know that well, so when we came off the highway and found this little town in amongst all these green rolling hills, we were actually quite surprised at how beautiful it was. I live here with my wife Christina, and we've been here for just over a year now. Chris and I both grew up in the country, and so it seemed a logical conclusion that we'd want to settle out of the city. It's a connection to community and the land that really draws us out of the urban environment. I grew up in northern New South Wales on more or less a hippie commune in a very, very small house which my dad built when I was 1. It was a little stone cottage on the side of a hill, and it was one room, and we all lived in that one room together. So maybe there's a connection with that history as to why I've ended up with such a tiny little house. I'm not the smallest person, so it's a bit illogical. Christina comes from a big Italian family who are farmers in Werribee South. And so growing vegetables and producing meals from those things you've grown is a big part of that culture and a big part of our life. My father was also a shoemaker. He made a pair of cowboy boots for me when I was about 4 or 5, and they're sitting on top of the piano in the lounge room. On the side of them is a depiction of the valley that I grew up in, northern New South Wales. The loonig that's hanging above the couch in the lounge room was hand-drawn by Michael Loonig himself for Chris and my wedding last year. And Chris and I sitting at the dinner table with our feet on our dog Billy, drinking a glass of wine. Chris and I both work in the city. I work in Paran and she works in Carlton, so there's nothing better after a long week at work to cook a meal and sit out on the deck and look out to the view, which is full of almost nothing. It's just trees as far as you can see, so that's a good way to unwind from a busy working week. Ever since landing in Melbourne, I felt a little bit out of place, and so finding a home for me is a really important thing. And what we found here is as a place to be part of a community and part of a culture that is more in line with where I was brought up, and so it's comforting to find that finally. I'm Jess Wooten, I'm a shoemaker and I live in Gordon.